Berlin law firm has been handling workers' compensation cases, forget this, over 20 years. Joining me today to discuss further what they can do for you are attorneys Stephen Berlin and Thomas Scully. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Let's start there with the experience factor that you guys are bringing to the table, because I truly think this is unique and so valuable when it comes to workers' compensation. From what I understand, this is all your team does.
That is correct. The only thing we handle workers' compensation cases. And what makes Tom and I unique, and our law firm unique, is we've spent over 20 years working for the insurance industry. So what we do is we take all of that experience, and now we represent injured workers. And what we do is we take the experience and the knowledge that we've learned over the 20 plus years, and we apply it to the other side. So
it's an interesting perspective and a different perspective, I think, than maybe what some other attorneys have.
Well, I think it's fair to say that we've pretty much seen absolutely every scenario that is possibly conceivable. And we are good at anticipating problems. We're also good at anticipating what insurance companies are going to do in response to the claims that we file, because we've been on that side of the equation for a really long time.
What's interesting, too, we were talking about before we got started, is I think a lot of people assume they don't call a lawyer, they don't call an attorney when something happens, because they assume, oh, I can't afford a lawyer. Here I am already hurt on the job, and maybe they don't make that phone call. But explain what you were telling me, that I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised how this works.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I would say probably 3/4 of the clients that call us, they either don't call an attorney, or they wait to call an attorney because they say, well, I didn't think I could afford an attorney. And the way attorney's fees work in workers' compensation is they are paid entirely by the insurance company. And workers' compensation attorney's fees are paid one of two ways. If we file a claim, for example, for a benefit that the insurance company denies, and then ultimately they wind up having to pay it, they pay for our time. And the second way is if there is ever any type of a settlement agreement, attorney's fees come out of a percentage of the settlement. But the point is, we can represent somebody indefinitely. If it takes, it usually takes about 6 months or so, but if it takes 5, 10 years, it doesn't matter. They will never get a bill from our firm. So a lot of people, they say, well, I can't afford an attorney, and therefore they don't call. And what's interesting is what we have found by working on the other side is insurance companies know that. So what happens is the insurance companies, they will make decisions premised on the fact that people won't get attorneys, whether it being denying cases just because they want to, or they strategically want to deny the case and they know there's no consequences. So that's the one thing I would tell people is,
make the phone call.
Exactly.
It's better to know.
Exactly.
Thomas, tell me a little bit, how do you know if you have a workers' compensation case? We were talking before we got started too. It may be your fault. I mean, there's so many different scenarios. How do you know when it's workers' compensation?
The best way is to call a workers' compensation attorney. But there are many situations where employees don't realize they even have a workers' compensation claim, whether it's a repetitive trauma, where it's not a stereotypical accident where you fall off a ladder or you're lifting a box, but rather you're typing for long periods of time and you develop carpal tunnel. Or you have a motor vehicle accident. Many people think that just because they're driving at work, if they have a motor vehicle accident, it's not workers' comp, it's covered by motor vehicle insurance. Other situations are if you're in the parking lot. You may be off the clock and get injured. You're still covered. If you get injured in your employer's parking lot, you could be covered. Coming into work or leaving work. So there's a lot of different scenarios where folks aren't certain whether it's a work-related accident or not. So they should call an attorney.
Yeah, well, and that's what the take home here, I would imagine, is it doesn't hurt to make the phone call and to get those questions answered really as soon as possible, correct?
Well, exactly, because the workers' compensation law allows 30 days from the time of an accident to report it to your employer. And if you don't, your claim could be barred. So we tell our clients immediately, just communicate with your employer. Tell the employer what's going on. Sometimes the employer is not going to report it to their insurance company, but as long as the injured worker tells their employer, it doesn't matter. They're fine.
Well, let's go ahead and put your contact information up, because I love this. So you're saying, listen, just give us a call, explain what's going on. We'll see if we can help. By the way, it's a 727 number, but you guys are covering all of the Bay Area, correct?
Correct. We handle cases all the way from Naples all the way up Orlando to Gainesville. And but our primary office number is up on the
Well, we'll make sure and put this on our website as well. Thank you both so much. We appreciate your time this morning. We know you're very busy, and thank you for all you do for the community. We appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.